Howdy folks, Jambareeqi here. I'll admit that I've found quarantine quite difficult, but one thing that's been there for me nearly every single day throughout is Bob's Burgers. That's right, I've spent most of my lockdown marathoning Bob's Burgers. Bob's Burgers is an animated sitcom created by Lauren Bouchard that centers on a burger restaurant run by the Belcher family, made up of Bob, Linda, Tina, Louise, and Jean. The business is constantly failing and they face daily struggles, but they all really love each other and genuinely enjoy being together as a family. There's a relatable charm to the Belchers and we root for their restaurant to find success. The side characters are just as memorable, each one making the Belchers' lives more entertaining, for better or worse. To top things off, the show has been highly praised for its wide spectrum of LGBT+ representation. It's a very relaxing and endearing series, but also snarky and absurdist at the same time too. Sort of like a Wes Anderson movie. I'm now completely up to date with every episode that's been aired so far, and you know what? I'm already missing the Belchers. The show has become that special to me. So my Jowie Dodgers, grab your spatulas as I talk about my personal top 5 favourite episodes of Bob's Burgers. Number 5. If you love it so much, why don't you marionette it? It's field trip day for the kids, but none of them are excited because they're going to a terrible puppet theatre hosted by a grumpy old lady called Esfer. Louise is very outspoken about how boring and uninspired the theatre is, so Esfer decides to take her out of the class. But Louise then finds an amazing dragon puppet in a closet that Esfer says is off limits. Louise is forced to work with Dot the technician in the control room, where she learns that the dragon puppet was Esfer's own creation from her younger days as a puppeteer. So Louise steals the dragon and challenges Esfer to a puppet battle. Those who already follow my channel know that I'm a huge fan of puppetry and consider it to be an intensely underrated art form. It's why I created my show Puppet Panic. So right off the bat, you'll work out why I love this episode. It does a great job showing how amazing puppetry can be, by both mocking bad puppet theatre and celebrating what magic veteran puppeteers can create. However, what I really love about this episode is how it taps into Louise's fear of growing out of playtime and creativity. Louise has already been feeling stifled when creating stories with her toys lately, but seeing adults around her giving up on their dreams and fantasies further enforces her worries about losing her imagination. So the episode is very much about a girl finding hope for her future by challenging an adult to confront her own abandoned passions.
So that's what happens? People put away their favorite puppets? Or kids just stop playing with their toys? It just goes away?
Well, maybe it didn't have to. I mean, maybe it only goes away if you let it.
Oh, dang, that's deep. Starting to tear up over here.
In a way, these two very different generations end up inspiring each other. Esfer rekindles her love for puppetry, and Louise can become a kid again without fearing that her fun will end someday. I find that to be such a beautiful sentiment for a coming-of-age story. Number 4. The ODA Games. In this episode, the eccentric landlord Calvin Fishoda plans to raise rent for everyone living in the wharf. So Bob decides to rally everyone together to threaten Calvin with a rent strike. However, the wealthy businessman proposes an alternative solution, a water balloon fight in his mansion's garden, and the winner only has to pay half their rent. At first, Bob is reluctant to play along, adamant that his community should stick together. But when no one will listen to his pleas for camaraderie, he decides to join the battle. Calvin himself makes for a highly entertaining self-appointed judge and commentator for this juvenile battle royale. He's obviously using the water balloon fight as a sneaky distraction, but is also clearly taking delightful joy from hosting such a ridiculous competition.
Oh, it looks like Bob the Rat has found the hedge maze.
Oh, he's watching us. We're going somewhere else, not the hedge maze.
His garden is a brilliant setting for the fight too, because of its grandiose size and luxurious layout. I especially love how the hedge maze is used to player's advantage or increase the already growing sense of division.
Oops, I gently dropped a water balloon on the grass and is rolling under the hedge to you, Sal. That's weird.
Throw it at Bob. Throw it at Bob.
Don't pick it up, Sal.
Things get even more enjoyably ludicrous when Louise and Jean climb the Fishoda treehouse, where Calvin's equally charismatic brother, Felix, is living, and he teams up with the kids just for the fun of it.
Oh, they're too far away! Mom's bra doesn't have that kind of range!
I guess Mom's never really had to launch her boobs very far. Do you wanna use this, maybe?
Yeah? Why do you have this?
It's how I send my dirty laundry over to the main house.
On the surface, this episode is a hilarious and childish water balloon fight, but under all the nonsensical chaos is a deeper message: how the temptation of prize rewards can drive those feeling afraid and desperate to lose their humanity and principles. With the wharf residents abandoning mutual togetherness in favour of an easy solution, each becoming pawns in their landlord's competition, and the Belchers themselves have to expose their neighbour's betrayal of a man who stood up for them.
Linda, what are you doing?
Zip it, Bob. You had it coming after everything you did. You brought everyone together, looked out for them, stood up for what's right.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Go ahead. Destroy everything this family's worked for.
But I also love how the episode humanises Mr. Fishoda himself. While he may be the antagonist of the story, and not exactly a saint, he still heard that Bob didn't consider simply talking to him first before ganging up on him.
Mr. Fisher, before I got all these people together, maybe I should have come to you first and talked to you one-on-one. I should have given you a chance to be the good guy. I've known you a long time, and I just realized now I might have hurt your feelings.
Here's the thing, Bob. I like you. You're good people, sort of.
You don't have to say sort of.
And I've always thought of myself as the kind of landlord you could pal around with. Someone you could pat on the butt as a sign of affection.
That's one of the most brilliant things about this show, how it tries to validate everyone's feelings, no matter their mistakes or failures. Even a character like Calvin can end up being a victim of misguided action. ODA Games is a really entertaining episode centered on a ridiculous concept that makes great use out of its unique setting for water balloon combat. But it's also a poignant story of a community losing their humanity in hard times, and a landlord misdirecting his hurt feelings into a game of division. Number 3. Flu-ouise. When Louise gets the flu, she becomes too bedridden to do anything, and asks her mum to bring her favourite toy, Coochie to her. But Linda accidentally drops Coochie in the toilet, and the rest of the family try to dry it in the oven. Unfortunately, that makes the toy even worse. They give the deformed Coochie to Louise, who notices right away and refuses to forgive her family for ruining her favourite toy. Then, Louise enters a lucid fever dream in a fantasy world where her toys are alive, and Coochie tries to get her to his fortress, but all the other toys insist that she stays away from the fortress, each singing how bad it is. This is definitely one of the more imaginative episodes of Bob's Burgers, because it sets itself in an otherworldly dream dimension, which not only inspires strange environments for Louise to explore, but also helps us to dive into Louise's internal psyche. The episode remains consistently mysterious about the dream's meaning, but Louise is smart enough to realize that her mind is trying to tell her something. Each toy is also voiced by a Belcher family member, but Louise doesn't point this out, instead letting the audience themselves work out that these characters represent her family.
Louise, I cannot allow you to get to the fortress.
What? Why not?
He's so jealous he's not invited to the fortress. It's pathetic.
Because the fortress is an awful place. I mean, who builds a fortress that blocks the sun and makes everything dark and gloomy?
We then meet another toy called Good Coochie, which expands the dream's meaning even more, because juxtaposing these two sentient toys helps to reflect Louise's own conflicting personalities, her good nature and her ugly side. You see, it turns out that the fortress is an allegory for Louise's need to repress her softer side, and she needs to learn to forgive her well-meaning family. The fact that Good Coochie is the one that explains the dream's meaning to Louise makes complete organic sense, because he can be seen as Louise's conscience, a voice of reason for her to listen to. This is what makes his exposition sound natural.
You don't get it yet, do you, Louise? What this place is? Why we've all been trying to stop you from getting here?
No, I don't. But you can keep on being mysterious about it if you want.
Closing yourself off like this, Louise? Building angry walls around yourself, Louise? You need to forgive your family.
What? Oh, that's what this is all about. Well, the answer is no, okay?
At the same time, I adore that the family themselves don't spend all the episode begging for forgiveness. They go out of their way to find constructive solutions, making us believe that they deserve to have their apologies accepted. They're afraid that the girl that they all love now hates them, and they totally know how much this toy means to her. I especially love that when Bob resorts to buying a replacement Coochie, he ends up learning more about the original character that inspired the toy, so he can better understand why his daughter is so attached to Coochie.
Wow, I had no idea how great Coochie is.
He's amazing.
It's so cool how he's like a spirit that can be different things to different people.
Luckily, we have a happy ending in which Louise overcomes her defensiveness by destroying her inner fortress and learning to forgive her family, now knowing that they don't deserve to be cut off for their accident. Flu-ouise is a really inventive episode that uses dream metaphors to tap into the mind of the most emotionally closed-off Belcher, while also showing the lengths that the Belchers will go to express their love to each other. Number 2. Hawk and Chick. Bob and Louise are big fans of Hawk and Chick, a series of Japanese action films from the 70s about a father and daughter samurai team played by real-life father and daughter Yuki and Shinji Kojima. One day, Bob and Louise amazingly end up meeting a now much older Shinji. He's come to their town to find Yuki, who is working as an accountant, but he's too ashamed to confront her because he has become distant from her since she left for America. So the Belchers decide to help Yuki and Shinji reunite by hosting a Hawk and Chick screening with the father and daughter celebrities as special guests. It won't be easy though, because Yuki will only come if her father isn't there, and to make things worse, the collected print of the Hawk and Chick movie has no sound. This episode's appeal for me comes from many endearing qualities. I love how the Belchers end up dubbing the film themselves because it shows their creative sides and gives the soundtrack a homemade charm.
It has been many days since we have loaned you our lantern. Can we have it back now?
Yes.
I see you are returning the lantern with less lantern oil than when I lent it to you. Also, the wick is in need of replacement.
Lot of lantern talk.
There's always a lot of lantern talk. You get into it.
Already there.
I adore Shinji himself because he's a genuinely friendly and upbeat man, even though he's a respected celebrity who is best known for playing a serious samurai.
Tina, take another picture of me with Koji. Let's do one where we're laughing at a hilarious thing I just said, but it's so smart you don't get it for a second and then you do.
Oh, no, he gets it.
He just got it. He just got it.
And I really enjoy how the screening is all secret, because it's being organised by a cinema staff member behind the manager's back. This makes the festival feel like a special underground event, and adds tension to pulling it all off successfully. Heck, the screening does not go smoothly, from Yuki expressing disinterest about the whole thing, to the sound breaking down, and the Belchers having to dub the movie live.
Which way did the seaweed monster go?
That way!
No, that way.
But the true heart of this episode is the relationship between Bob and Louise. These two have a very unique bond based on shared interests, and seeing them working together to help their heroes is so damn cute. The episode also juxtaposes the relationship between Shinji and Yuki with Louise and Bob, tapping into Louise's fear that she's going to grow apart from her dad one day.
Am I gonna turn into someone completely different someday? Is that what happens when you grow up? You grow apart?
Listen, what happened to Hawk and Chick will never happen to us. This Hawk and this Chick will never not talk for 30 years.
You promise?
Yes, of course, Louise.
Hawk and Chick is a wonderful episode that pays affectionate homage to Japanese cinema, while also celebrating the special bond that fathers and daughters can have. It's one of the rare episodes that actually made me cry, because the emotional depth hit me so much. Number 1. The Bleak Inn. In this 2-part Christmas special, Linda decides to spread the Christmas cheer by holding a festive party in the restaurant, adamant to make people happy this season, especially after the LGBT+ nightclub, the Wiggle Room, was recently shut down. She even cuts off the top of the family Christmas tree and decorates it with special ornaments that the kids made her when they were little, so that she can give the restaurant its own tree. The party is a decent success, but Linda is shocked and appalled to learn that the tree, along with her precious ornaments, have been stolen by a thief. Bob and Linda try investigating the crime themselves by interviewing all the possible suspects, while the kids believe that the creature known as the Bleak Inn stole the tree, and try to find the root of the theft themselves. The overall mystery is definitely a major reason why I love this one. The more suspects that are ticked off the list as innocent, the more we lose hope for justice and become puzzled what on earth happened to the tree. Heck, the lack of proof for which partygoers stole it actually made me consider the kids' outlandish theory, even though this show is set in a reality where mythical Christmas monsters are unlikely to exist. That's how far the lack of clear answers push me. It also helps that the episode is a straight-up musical, packed with some of the best songs I've heard from the show, ranging from heavy metal ballads. The further the Belchers go down the rabbit hole, the weirder things get, to the point where we actually fear for the family's lives.
What?
Ah! Oh, no!
This is real! This is happening!
So, should we, stake out the perimeter and call for some backup?
No, there's no time. It's Christmas frickin' Eve. Look, footprints. Let's follow them. Crap! Flashlight's dead. Looks like we'll be doing this in the dark.
However, their investigation leads them to a secret underground nightclub where the tree is being used as a decoration. At first, Linda is angry under the assumption that the club patrons are just a bunch of nasty kids. But then she changes her attitude once one suspect admits that he was the one who stole the tree. Not out of spite or greed, but because he was desperate to bring festive spirit to this disheartened LGBT+ community.
It's just, this party's usually at the Wiggle Room and it always looks amazing. And I know it's important to a lot of people, and I had a dream of making it look beautiful in here to bring people a little bit of light.
I had the exact same dream. That's why I threw my Christmas party.
Linda got so carried away trying to find the perpetrator that she forgot the whole reason why she put up a little Christmas tree. To bring some festive cheer to people that feel sad, alone, or afraid at Christmas. The theft of her Christmas tree, which was committed with no harm intended at all, actually brought happiness to those who lost their safe space at a special time of the year. Its mystery story is maybe what makes it so fun and entertaining to watch, because it cleverly misleads us into thinking something horrifying is happening, but the truth behind the supposed crime is the gooey centre of this Christmas special. So, those are my top 5 favourite episodes of Bob's Burgers. Which are yours? Let me know in the comments section below. I've been Jambareeqi, and I hope you enjoyed this countdown video. If you did, then feel free to like, subscribe, and share. Also, please consider supporting me by making a monthly pledge to my Patreon in return for awesome rewards. Thank you. Cheerio, folks.